Welcome to Pioneer Mindset, a place where we challenge our mindset and address the discomfort in both business and life by finding clarity resulting in bold conviction. I'm your host, Garrett Ruskamp, fifth generation farmer, husband, and father from rural Nebraska. Whether you're navigating frustration from past decisions or worry about the uncertainty you face today in your business, we're going to learn from our struggles and take on new challenges with a resilient mindset. Join me as I share my journey of struggles I faced in agriculture as a farmer and family man. I'm ready to dive into honest conversations to tackle the mindsets surrounding key issues that rural ag business owners face that will ultimately help you gain control, leading to a profitable and sustainable business. Let's adapt to Pioneer Mindset and get to it. Welcome back, everyone. So I want to talk about here recently, last weekend actually, we actually met up with a group that we're a part of, and it's kind of basically a peer group with different members from across the country, different walks of life, different businesses, different age groups. But what's really nice about this group is even though we're very different, we're also somewhat similar. And it's very powerful to be in a group or in a room like that because there's tons of different things that get thrown out. We're all literally just trying to seek to get better and to be better. And so one of the things that I want to talk about was something that really hit home for me, kind of a phrase that somebody mentioned. And essentially what that is, God will punish you by giving you everything you ever wanted just to see how you can handle it. And so as this person mentioned this, I got to thinking about this. And what really kind of hit home is I was thinking about the other day, prior to this, to where I was kind of laying in bed as my alarm was going off right before I was about to get up. And it was pretty early, but I was actually excited about the day. So that day, what my schedule consists of is I had a call with a client first thing in the morning, and I was excited to provide value to that client, to help them find financial clarity, and to really kind of take a weight off their shoulders by finding that financial clarity, taking away some scarcity that they might have, and all of that fun stuff that I'm just super excited to provide value to that person. And so I was excited about that because that's something I've been really striving towards, and I really enjoy doing that. But the other thing that I was also excited about was after that is I got to jump in the truck, jump in the semi, I got to go haul some wheat to town, and I was excited because that's something that I also enjoy. And that's something I've been working so hard to do, is to get to where I can kind of have that balance, more or less, of being able to provide value to somebody through Pioneer Farmer and everything that we're offering there, but then also do what I enjoy, that I've kind of grown up doing, is working on the farm and doing things of that nature. And so I was just super excited for once. And I got to thinking in my head, this is what I've always wanted. This is what I've been working towards. And so the thing is that I was thinking about when it comes to this phrase is God will punish you by giving you everything you ever wanted just to see how you can handle it. And I feel like oftentimes we do not handle it very well. We do not handle things that God has given us very well. So kind of as I was thinking about this here this morning, is I feel like every season that we're currently in is always going to be the hardest. Our current season is always going to be the hardest. Now you might look back at your life and think, well, 5 years ago when we were going through all the financial stresses with the bank and all the challenges that we dealt with then, trying to figure out how we're going to pay our operating loan, how we're going to literally go forward with this business and farm on because of the way our financial situation looked. Those times sucked. Those were not fun. You may look back at that time, or maybe a period in your life that you've gone through that was super not fun, and say, yeah, no, that was more difficult than what we're currently going through. That may be true, but let's be honest. Every situation, every current season that we're in is going to be hard because it's where we're currently in. It's the feelings that we're feeling currently. And so I feel like we're always trying to look forward to what's next, always trying to look forward to something better in the future. Not necessarily, it always kind of comes down to enjoying the journey. I've mentioned that before. You got to enjoy the journey. It's not the destination, it's the journey. Where we're always seeking to what's next and seeking to what's better. So we feel like our current situation is the hardest. Maybe on the home front, maybe you've got little kids, maybe you've got a little baby that doesn't sleep very good at night. And I definitely know what that's been like. And so you think, well, this is the hardest season. Let's just try to get to the next stage to where they're sleeping better. But then, something else pops up and you're dealing with issues with your kids as they get older. And It's just always something, always something. And so I think it's interesting because as we get to this stage, wherever you're at in your life, maybe you've prayed. Think about where you're currently at. You've probably prayed at one point or another to be where you are now. You've prayed to be where you are, but yet we're not content. I feel like it's kind of this thought about lack of contentment. That's just kind of something that I was thinking about. And so in my head, I was trying to think of kind of a metaphor that I could kind of talk about here. And it's really interesting kind of to take this to more of the spiritual side of things for just a second, is when we talk about, how the Lord God is our Father and we are basically His children. And basically that relationship, that metaphor between a father and his children. So I myself am a dad. I've got 3 boys. I know what it's like to be a parent, to be a father. And so I was thinking about this. And so I was thinking, well, okay, let's say your boys come home at the end of the day, or for us, we got boys, and they're hungry. So what do they want? They want to get fed. They want food. They want a snack. And so you give them a snack before supper, and then, they want food. You give them food. So you provide them a nice meal. You give them a hamburger. You got corn on the cobs. It's a sweet corn season right now. And so you give them what they want. And then when that's all said and done, right before bed, they should be content. They're always like, well, I want something else. I want a snack. I want something before bed. I want ice cream. I want just something else. I want. And so you're thinking in your head as a father, like, why are you never content? Why can't you just be happy with what I'm giving you? Why can't you just be satisfied? Be full instead of constantly hungry. And so I just got to thinking about this metaphor in my head, but like, wow. I feel like a lot of times you need to eat your own words. And that's kind of what I was thinking about, is like, I feel like that's kind of my current situation, is I look at everything that I've asked for from God, everything that I've wanted. He's given it to me. He's given me some of the stuff. He's given me what he's meant to be giving me. And yet I'm still complaining about my situation. I complain with, currently complain between the balance between Pioneer Farmer and the farms and everything that we have to do on the day-to-day operations. I complain about all the workload, all the new things that I'm learning. I complain about, the balance between, family and work. And just always complaining, always something to be complaining about. And I just feel like I definitely deal with this lack of contentment. And so that's one thing I was just really thinking about. And when it comes to contentment, I want to make this very clear that being content is it's not a bad thing, but it's also not a bad thing to be wanting something better, to be striving for something more, to have a goal that you're working towards. I think that's also very important to have, goals that we're working towards, something that we can strive for, to do better, to be better. But I feel like that's all we focus on. That's all we focus on. When it comes to be content, I was trying to think about, literally kind of back to the spiritual side of things in the 10 commandments, thou shalt not covet what your neighbor has. And I feel like a lot of times that's what we're doing, is we're trying to be better, have something more land. We're trying to just covet what our neighbors have, just whatever that looks like in your operation, in your life, trying to covet more money, more materialistic things, a better house, better vehicle, trips, different things like that. And so we're always trying to seek for something better. The problem with this is, in my mind, the way I see it, is we're just not grateful for what we have. And I've kind of mentioned this before, is you got to be grateful for what you have. I was trying to ask myself this question: what's it going to take for me to be happy or content where I'm at, to be grateful, or just even to live in the moment, to be living in the moment? And so I was asking myself that, and truly this is something that I struggle with. That's why it's easy for me to talk about, and it's easy for me to bring this to you, because I feel like a lot of people struggle with this. And so I'm not saying I have all the answers, but this is something that I'm trying to answer for myself. And the one thing that I was just thinking about is, I feel like we tend to not give enough credit to what we've actually done in the past, or even to what God has done for us. It's kind of the one thing, if we look at our current situation, sometimes we're so focused on the future. We're so focused on where we're trying to go in the future, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like I mentioned, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but that's all we're focusing on. We're not focusing on what we've done thus far, to what we've done to get us to where we're at today, all the work, the hard work that we've put in, all the time, blood, sweat, and tears, and energy that we've put into where we've been, where we've come, and how we've gotten here, all with, obviously, with God's help to get us here. And so I just feel like that's one thing that I need to focus on a little bit more. It's like I said, it's good to focus on where you're going in the future. But at the end of the day, we need to acknowledge what we've done to get here. What does that look like for me? Well, let's take kind of a step or kind of a journey down memory lane here. I went through the trials and the struggles back in the hard times, after we got married in 2016. That's when we built our hoop building. So went through the expansion with the cows. We went through and we did our large expansion where we went from 150 cows to 300 cows all the way up to 450 cows. And in 2018, I feel like that's that last time when we added that, next group, third group, we were calving 3 times a year. That's kind of when we started having struggles financially. So, we were working our butts off, working our tails off, went through all that struggles, and then the struggles with the bank. And we learned from all that. I took over responsibility. I kind of took ownership of the finances and had to go in through the uncomfortable meetings with the banker, with the lawyer, with meeting with our uncle who we had to buy out. And so we had to go through all of that struggles. And I grew so much from then. I've grown up so much from then. And I was in my basically early 20s when we started going through all those challenges. And so I've learned a lot. And as I sit here and I'm trying to acknowledge everything that we've been through, we get into 2020, when we get into COVID and all of those challenges, raising kids. We've raised 3 healthy boys thus far. And, I had to go through basically stages of each one of those to where they never slept great for the first, 12 months. So all through the business side of things, I was dealing with the personal side of things and dealing with personal issues, not sleeping very well at night. So I've gone through all that. And just as I sit here, I'm trying to acknowledge everything that I've been through, everything that God has given me, and everything that we've worked towards. We've shifted our operation after focusing on the finances and trying to figure out exactly where we wanted to go in the future. And after learning from our past, trying to learn from our past mistakes, that is, we've tried to really focus on our numbers and the decisions that we make and the outcomes that those are going to have. And so I feel like I'm not boasting or bragging while I say this. That's not what I'm doing. I'm literally just talking out loud, trying to think the thoughts that are coming through my head and trying to acknowledge where I've been. So I want to flip this a little bit. Are you able to acknowledge where you've been in the past, what you've actually accomplished? Maybe you're 40 years old. Maybe you've got grown kids already. Acknowledge what you've done, what you've raised them to be. Good human beings. You've built a business. You've survived. Honestly, sometimes that is a victory. In the past few years with the volatile markets and everything that we've gone through, sometimes just the fact that you've survived the tough times. You've weathered the storm. Maybe that's all you need to do, is to be that key takeaway. Now, once again, I'm not trying to say that you cannot focus on the future. You cannot focus on your goals and where you're trying to strive to go to, because that's what it's going to continue to basically try to drive you in the right direction. I think that's very important as well. But I think there's got to be healthy balance there too, so that way we're not constantly sitting in this current season complaining about what we have because it's what God has given us, because it's what we asked for. He's given us because most likely you've asked for it. You used to pray that, we have, healthy boys and continue to farm, help the crops and kids and cattle grow, healthy, tall, and strong. And here we are, we keep farming on and we're making it. Yes, we're going to have challenges. We're always going to have challenges. I can guarantee you in the future, 5 years from now, whatever you're praying for, whatever it is, you're going to get some form of it and you're still going to be complaining. Let's just be real. That's just the reality of things here. And so I think it's just important that we acknowledge what we've actually been given. Try to be grateful for that. Because if we can look back, I can guarantee to some form or another, we've been given what we asked for. And at that point, you would think we'd be happy. You should look at the kids, think back to your kids. Okay, they asked for that bowl of ice cream after everything they've ate for supper, right before bed. But you know what? It's been a good day. You want to reward them for being good, or even if they're not being good, sometimes you still just give them the ice cream. And you see that look on their face when they smile and they got that ice cream all over their face and it's getting everywhere. And it's still chaotic, but they're happy. Maybe try to find that joy in your current season. Try to find that joy in your current season so you can live in the moment and actually enjoy things. Because we've got a lot to be grateful for. We really do. And that's kind of to end this or kind of wrap this up is I want to kind of leave you with another phrase is, every day is a holiday and every meal is a feast. I've maybe mentioned that before, but that's one thing that my uncle had mentioned to me a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me. Because the life that you live, somebody else would be glad to have that. So definitely try to be grateful and just be thankful for what you have, but acknowledge the good things that you have done. Obviously, all this kind of comes from the Lord, and He's blessed us in many ways. So that's kind of all I got for today, and I'll kind of leave it with that. And I hope you found value in this. Hope you resonated with this. Hopefully this kind of strikes home a little bit, and we will definitely catch you on the next one. Thanks for tagging along with me today as we sharpened our mindsets. If you've gained insight from today's episode, be sure to take a screenshot to share or send this episode to somebody who might also find value in it. For more, follow me on Instagram @GarrettRuskamp or on Facebook, and join me next time for more conviction through clarity.